Right, a very good evening to you and welcome aboard this particular edition of the Political Dive on Northern TV. My name is Fred Mongurek, and of course this very week we are here to analyze or to throw our perspectives on the major events of the week that was. And of course, as you know, we are in a political period. A lot of things are happening here and there, and of course we'll be oscillating around some of the major stories that are happening in the country. And this very evening, we are right here at Icon Lounge. Thank you so much for viewing us live on Facebook. And if you can't be able to be with us at this very material time, do not forget to go to our YouTube channel, that is Northern TV. And this evening, I am glad to be joined by my colleague in the business. He is an experienced journalist, and I should say he is one of the senior reporters we have right here in the region of West Nile. I am talking about none other than Benedict Okethwengu, who reports for one of the biggest newspapers in the country, that is New Vision. A very good evening and welcome to this very edition of the Political Dive on Northern TV.
Thank you, Fred, and thank you so much, dear viewers. We welcome you to this edition of the evening time on the Northern TV.
Right, as I did mention, we are going to be throwing our perspectives on some of the key issues as pertains to what is happening currently in the country. The president last week announced that schools would resume on the 15th of next month, but as it stands, it has attracted a lot of debate, more especially the communications that followed that came from the Ministry of Education and Sports. Now, when we talk about the resumption of schools, we might not be the most competent people to talk about this, but there are some schools that are being used as quarantine centers. How is it going to be possible that students and probably pupils are going to return to these very schools?
I think, Fred, when you talk about opening or reopening school, at this time where we are battling with COVID, we are not only battling it, but we are seeing even the number of infections are even getting higher and higher. And I think by yesterday, our death toll was at least at 70 plus.
Today it has gone to 75.
So that means, given the status, because if you look at the time we were closing school, we had even no infection. Actually, we had zero. And then later on, we registered one, I think it was on the 23rd of March, after school was closed on the 18th. Now, in terms of the school being a center for maybe isolating people who are either positive or those who are assumed to be in contacts, for me, that's not the issue, because disinfecting those schools might take even an hour or just a day. But the bigger question is that if we are able to close school when the situation was even at zero infection, what is it that now we are doing that now the infection has gone very high? So that is the bigger question. And of course, the agitators have been advocating, trying to advance reason that probably it has been done in other countries and so on. But when you see carefully, countries which have opened school had to come back to close. We saw South Africa opening school, and within a week of opening, the number shot to over 300 plus. So, similar thing is likely to happen in Uganda. UK, which is one of the first world country, had a bigger challenge. In fact, the Prime Minister was trying to think of how to put another lockdown, because in a day they were almost registering a lot of cases. So, as a country, when you look at our structures, our resources, the health system is not that robust compared to these other countries that have started school but have closed. So for me, I think the government should be looking at the bigger picture. We like doing benchmarking, we like comparing things. I don't know why this time they don't look at the Kenya way. You see, Kenya decided, say no, we're going to have a dead year. And that's it. And looking at if you are to borrow that, that would be the best, because I imagine our schools, there are others who are boarding, others which are not. So the level in which we interact, the student, some teachers stay at home. Not all teachers stay in the quarters. And also, some students and people stays at home. They're not in boarding. So despite all these guidelines issued, I am seeing that with the reopening of school, we are likely to even register more numbers of infection that even may spiral to a level that the country may not manage. Because right now, we are not even registering much death or more, because one, a few cases, okay, the cases which have been reported, they are not so severe, they were being managed. Now imagine that now we reach a level where those cases, because when you look at COVID, there is a mild, severe, and acute. So we have not reached acute where we need ventilators and so on. So what if we reach that state where now we have people to be put on ventilator? So opening school, I think, is likely to draw us into reaching that stage where we may
Have all the three
scenario. And you imagine our health system, for now, I don't think it's that robust, that can manage what has been happening in other countries.
Now, when we talk about reopening schools, what do you think would be the cost of declaring this academic year dead?
For me, the cost is massive, but everyone has to bear it at the moment, because right now, everyone is suffering. There is no one who is not suffering because of COVID. The parents who have paid money, learners studied for only a month plus, and then the school was closed. Some people had to pay. Two, the learners who are supposed to go to the next class, they feel the pinch that, they're being dragged down. They're also having the cost. If we look at the school owners, most of these guys are business people. So they feel they have lost economically, because right now there are others, and so the teachers themselves, those who are in private school, they have no means, and of course their source of livelihood has been cut off, because most of them are paid when teachers, when people are in school, their source of livelihood is from the school fees, and then they are paid money. So everyone seems to be at a loss. But now you can only say that the best is for you when you're alive. Now, what is the rationale of opening school, and then private schools, they start teaching, money is paid, and I don't know, many people die. Who will enjoy the money? So for me, I think there's nothing bad in allowing this year to be called a wasted year for everyone, than opening it at the end, because I am optimistic that I can tell you, I am not being a prophet of doom. School may open for about 1, 2, 3 days, weeks. Then the surge is registered so much. Then they will say, "Oh my God, let's close." So again, what will be there? For 7 months we have been at home, children and so on. But we are remaining on a few months to end the year, the calendar year, which is on true. That makes it. In fact, to me, we are like to pass out children who are half-baked if we continue with that approach we are using. Because one, according to ministry proposal, that they are going to do automatic promotion based on home-based assessment. There have been argument that around from June, July, that they gave out learning materials. I can attest to that thing did not reach most part of the countryside. Even in the villages, some of the children didn't access those things. So, what measure are they going to use? Those who did not see, and those who saw, they did not practice it. So it means that if we are to use that, we are going to have children who are half-baked. We may achieve the intention. For me, I think some people, they just want to, I call it fulfilling our mandate at the expense of quality. Because if we are looking at the quality, we are looking at, education, even when you look at primary, you join P3, you are taught something in a sub-country. In P4, something within the district. And then in P5, you are introduced to learning. If let me take SST, social studies. Then P5, country. So it's built on that. Now, in first term, we did not learn. Second term, you did not learn. Third term, you did not learn. But you are saying you are going to what? To promote people. So what are they going to come up with a strategy of redesigning the syllabus, that what were the content which were missed in the next class will be brought back to the next class, because we build over them. So that is the dilemma that I see is likely. So everyone is going. So declaring it a loss, I mean a total waste, and a year which is wasted would save everybody. Everyone is going to count a lot. The parents are going to cry. The business guys are going to cry. Then at the end, people are going to bring their heads together. And when you look at this thing, for me, I think what I would call them economic agitators, those who think, are the one pushing.
They are planning to make a killing out of it.
Yeah, because one, why should they only talk about private teachers meeting the president? But they have never consulted the parents. Are they going to pay the school fees? Remember, even the calendar, they say around December. Right now, after 2 weeks, they will go. December, they will break. January. So it's back like this. This COVID left everyone without anything. So what about the parents? Are they who are going to? I'm imagining that the moment school resume, parents are going to sweat like nothing because they have to pay school fees as well. So for me, government would have done the best thing by saying no. This year, everybody, let's go to the drawing board, and then we start afresh as we wait for the vaccine. Okay, I saw today they are saying the trial will start. The Mosomenera, this other lady, was talking about starts with about 10, they will increase to 100 and so on. And then, so as we wait for the issue of vaccine, let us say this year it's wasted. And
No.
Yesterday I was shocked. People in the ministry, the director, external standard, was arguing that they are looking at children, that some of the children are a little big. And then if they miss this year, it's going to affect them. For us, when we were studying, we had children, big girls, we had big boys, but that was not the theory given. So I think some people are pushing the president to the wall to meet their demand, and those who think. And for me, I'm thinking that there's something that is bigger than that meets their why they're pushing, because I don't understand. If it is a few days to
Okay. Now, as we grapple with the issue of COVID vis-a-vis returning to school, there are some people who think this is the time the government should use actually to streamline the issue of the new curriculum. Do you think as a country we can say this is a dead academic year and we are going to use it to sort out issues like the issue of the new curriculum, bringing everyone on the same table and probably reaching every part of the country to try and bring every single academic institution to the same level?
By the way, actually, the new curriculum which came in from Senior 1 to Senior 4, even it's new to teachers. And surprisingly, if a teacher is not conversant with this, a particular content of what he's going to teach, what do you expect of the learners? We have had changes in the past in primary section. The government came with the there's a program. There was something BTL called BTL. I forget it in full, but that was initiative which was brought to, I think, enhance literacy, reading and writing in lower classes. Then eventually that one failed completely because teachers, it was taught for just 1 week. Okay, teachers were just told they gather them in a maybe not in a set classroom, coordinating center. Just they are brought in actually for some few, maybe 2 days and a day and so on. Now you are going to start something which is new, a syllabus which took a lot of years by the curriculum development centers to come up with. They're teaching you for 1 day. You spend 2-3 years studying teaching theory, scheme and so on. So it would be for me also nice that this COVID thing has brought in something unique. So since the new curriculum was also new to teachers, and most of them were complaining, I interact with a number of them, they say no, it's not nice, like to be nice. So it was going to be also, for me, an opportunity that, yes, they use to now train these teachers.
Okay, we need to take a break.
Hey.
Right, we need to take a break. This is the Political Dive on Northern TV, and of course, we are live in the heart of Nebi Municipality at Icon Lounge. We are glad that you are streaming us live on Facebook. Continue to do that as usual, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is Northern TV. We are taking a break and returning in a bit. Do not move away. Welcome back from the short break. This is the Political Dive on Northern TV. Fred Munguriek is my name, and of course, your host tonight. We are discussing key issues as pertains to what should be done as finalists are set to return to school on the 15th of August. Many school of thoughts are being advanced as to whether this academic year should be declared a dead one or not. But the government has decided that the finalists are going to return to school. And of course, the discussion continues right here on Northern TV. Do not forget, you can as well be able to be a part of this particular program when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is Northern TV. As we get back, Benedict, it seems to be turning out to be more controversial than we expected, because the government came out to say that as these finalists return to school, they are not allowed to use public transport. No taxis, no border borders, but they will have to get to school. And the other interesting bit is that no school will be allowed to operate both boarding and day section. You either choose to operate as a day school or a boarding school. And this is turning out to be something quite controversial rather, given the level of resource distribution in the country, where probably you don't expect a rural parent to actually afford means of transport to take his kid back to school. What is the way forward from here? More especially when the government is coming out with these measures.
You see, Fred, I'm not a good student of history, but such statement, which sometimes government or policies that they come with, without looking into consideration, reminds me of this story of the lady who was the wife of the president. Yes, that if you cannot afford
Cake.
bread, you go for a cake.
Yes.
That is exactly what the government is trying to tell us. You are saying that no public transport for learners and teachers. Do you know that even some teachers don't have bicycle? And then some of these children, foot, they don't have even access to border borders and so on. So literally, if the government is serious, let them buy cars for teachers. And maybe this is the time where now many teachers are going to have vehicles, and even parents may have opportunity to be having vehicle hired to take their children to school. I think if that is what they are going to do, but I didn't hear it come out, then it's going to be something interesting. But if they can't say that we are going to provide for you transport and so on, then that is an illusion. So it's something that clearly shows that there is that lack of connectivity. The top guys at the ministry, they are just planning from their boardroom shares, the AC room. They don't see what's happening in the other part of the country or the countryside. For example, in Nebi, how many boarding schools are there for primary, for secondary, and so on? So, are these children going to remain at home? Because that will literally mean that it's going to. So, for me, this COVID thing favors on the rich. This pronouncement by the ministry it favors only the rich. But of course, the rich also should not jubilate, because what if now the number sours there? There are likely to be restriction and so on. So government should come with a policy after thorough consultation. You see, this policy analysis is concerned by analyzing the existing and then the old policy. Now, if the government cannot effectively look at how the structure of education has been, how things have been in the past, and then comes out with pronouncement just to meet the... Because for me, that's why I'm saying you fail to understand what exactly driving this thing, the passion, the speed at which these people are taking people. Actually, what they are doing, they come out with the thing that we have given you there. So they should be able to reach out to the parents. They should be able to reach out to the different stakeholders. Not them sitting there and then powering things. They are communicating. They should communicate with. They should not only communicate to. Okay? Because if it's about, this is any, education is a spiral stuff. It involves so many stakeholders. The parents, in this case, like the private sector, the private teachers, about the owners, the private school owners association, they have become more powerful than even other things, because they are the one now hovering everywhere, going to state house to meet what and so on. As if they are now the bigger stakeholders. The government seems to, even the way they are appearing, they are like they have handed over everything to them. So this pronouncement was saying over public school, boarding and so on, if they cannot manage, for me, I still stand by the fact that, one, let them declare this year a wasted year, if they don't want to say a dead year.
But what do you think informs decisions like the directive the ministry is giving of both learners and teachers not using public means to access schools?
For me, that's why I call it an illusion. It's something that is out of reality. They are talking as if they don't know what happened in the country, as if they don't know what is happening in the country. Now, what are they did not tell us what should the teachers or they use. They did not speak. Because that, for me, if you're giving a directive, you're saying do this, then you should be able to come with, okay, alternative. You are telling me that you are not going to use public means. Then tell me you are going to use this. We are going to bring a bus. So all districts should be able to do this. But you are just coming with a blanket statement. I don't know whether it's a ploy. Actually, this thing does not add up. For me, it doesn't add up, because the fact that the government has not come out clearly to tell that, one, now that you cannot use public means and many other means, we are going to do this, or you can do this. It means that they're all even giving directive without thinking deeper into it, that the repercussion and so on. Or somebody just want to fulfill his mandate. That's what I think, that we are working.
Now, does it portray the government to be working in isolation, more especially when they come out to give a directive that do not do ABCD, but they don't give the alternatives?
For me, government, in this, the way it has handled this COVID, especially Ministry of Education, it leaves a lot to be desired. Because, one, the key stakeholders, like the children, in this case, for me, I was thinking that even students should have been consulted at whatever level. We have the union of the national, the UNSA. These are the union. I have never had, maybe I missed the opportunity to know, but I didn't hear much from them. They should have been consulted. If the association of the parents are there, or whether they exist, I don't know, but it seems they should have been there to hear their thought. Such that, at the end of the day, it is a consensus. Because by the time you do things, that's why most government policies fail. Because there are some people who are left out in the process of the formulation. So the moment the person is left out, is not going to own it. It becomes your thing. Even enforcing it becomes a little tough for you. So this time, the pronouncement and so on has been a little so much centered. Much as the government kept on saying, oh, we shall open, because President Museveni in his address would say, okay, we shall consult the scientists and so on. The reopening started after a month, kept on. But in all these adjustment in days of reopening, there was no moment that I think these people came to say, okay, we are meeting these different sectors. If they met, then they met the education officer, the DO, the technical officer, but other stakeholders.
They are not involved.
Hey, that's
Now,
what I'm saying.
the president, quickly before we take another break, the president has always been referring to the scientists. Whatever questions he is asked, he has been asked during this whole COVID thing, he has always given that answer that I am going to consult my scientists. Do you think even this particular decision of finalists returning to school was in a way informed by what the scientists told him?
Of course, every advancement is that the education people are saying, the Minister of Education says all the guidelines were drafted in consultation with the Ministry of the task force, which is more of the health ministry. So everything they are doing in consultation, and all these arguments that they place, they are saying it is done in, with guidelines issued by what? Minister of Education, by Health. Remember, the before the reopening, the president said we shall consult the health people, the Minister of Health. So it seems these were the thing issued by Minister of Health. Remember, even some of the policies they issued earlier on couldn't work, even the guidelines, because they're ambiguous.
Right, we need to take another break. Remember, when we get back from the break, we are going to be engaging gear number 2. A lot many things are happening in the country as far as politics is concerned. And of course, you know the story involving NUP and Chibalama. Bobby Wine there, and I will be getting back after the break and probably throwing some perspectives on those key issues. This is the Political Dive on Northern TV. Your host is Fred Munguriek this Wednesday evening. And we need that break urgently, and we are probably going to take it because we do have the powers to decide for ourselves. Keep on viewing us on our Facebook page, and it's time for that break. Break, as I told you, we are engaging our second gear, and that is to look at the political happenings in the country, where we have so many controversial things coming through. And several weeks after the NRM primaries, some results are yet to be declared. And of course, crossing over to Kamucha NUP, a party that was formerly owned by Mzee Nkonge Chibalama, is in court and of course contesting the happenings within the political party setup. Of course, the man who has been in the spotlight, in as far as that is concerned, is the man who founded the party, that is Nkonge Chibalama. And of course, the matter is in court. We are only going to be throwing perspectives on some of the key issues in as far as the political parties in Uganda and how they are run are concerned. Yes, when we talk about politics in the country, all that is happening to NUP, do you think there is an invisible hand that is behind some of the confessions we saw, more especially during the cross-examination of Mzee Chibalama in court?
I was able to watch, apart from being active in reading the court session where he was being cross-examined by Meda Segona and the EC lawyer. From the appearance, the guy looked a traumatized gentleman. Because for me, what shocked me, why was he breaking? Was he breaking because the questions were too tough? Or because he was breaking because certain things were not right? Or he thinks his conscience was being played with? The question from Sagona when he said, do you want court to grant you freedom? He said, I wish it if it could. So to me, that it shows that probably is not a free man. And who is not making him to be free? That is the question. He said he was in the hand of the security and so on, but of course the guy kept on contradicting himself. Therefore, to me, I think Chibalama Mzee Konge seems to be going through a lot, both psychological and I don't know, maybe physical torture and so on. But there seems to be something which is more than that meets the eye that the guy seems to be going through. And his confession was that he met the CTF, was taken to Mbale, and when you look at the contradiction from the spokesperson, the different spokespersons of the forces, the police and the army, at first they denied, later they accept and so on. And then Chibalama comes out, said he needs freedom. That's a lot.
Now, in his subsequent appearances on TV, we actually heard from his own mouth that actually he made the CDF to request for security, not because of any other thing. And the contradictions keep on coming. Where do you think the truth really lies in as far as this whole thing is concerned?
Does this require the CDF for Chibalama to be protected? Meeting the CDF? Two, protection of citizens. The UPDF, their mandate is very clear. To protect our border, external aggression, internal security, law and order. The mandate of the police to protect lives and property of what? Of the citizen. So the institution that Chibalama should have gone to, if there was something which probably is not mingled with other things, I would think should be the police, not the army. So even given the different videos the guy released and so on, so there's a lot of question that me also I do keep asking. Why he went to the army, not the police? So that answer can only be given by probably the two institutions. That why, or is it now lack of confidence in the police? Because if by the time they're going to army, it means that maybe probably. So to me, it's showing that one of the two institutions, either one is not performing his duty, or the other one is overlapping, taking on the role of the other. Because in a nutshell, the police should be the one protecting the Chibalama, not the army, and so on. If the police are doing their work, then the army should not be there. Because it would be strange for me to see police going to fight what? Going to war zone. Unless maybe, and the only thing that can be done, the army can come into such a thing after being requested by the police. So the whole thing becomes suspicious when the guy he goes on to say that I have requested. At first he said he was taken. So they had already done press conference after the court session. There's anything that he didn't say in court, but he was trying to tell the camera.
Press conference.
To a few selected journalists.
Now,
so that was a little suspicious for me also.
Now, when you try to go deeper with the analysis of all this that is happening surrounding the ownership of that particular party, that is the National Unity Platform, does it point out to the fact that Mzee Chibalama is a dishonest man, or it points out to some invisible efforts that are being made to actually make him say certain things that we are hearing from him?
Fred, when you look at Chibalama, the man is a disturbed man. He's very stressed from his appearance, much as he pretends. When you look at the videos which were released, Chibalama says that one, he handed over Noop to Bobby Wine in a very colorful, joyful manner. But also when he's asked, did you sell? Because remember in the court there were two affidavits. One he retracted, the other one is. So, meaning that I think there were some other certain things which after the deal was done, probably some people say, no, look here, what you have done is not right. But also remember, when the issue of Noop came up, there are some people who were fired from Electoral Commission. Because Noop was legal register. And there were some school of thought which are coming, some these guys were fired because of this and this. Though no one would come, but the question was that the phantom, probably the state was not comfortable with the way, probably the government, the city government was not comfortable with the way happened. So if such a thing is happening after even the electoral commission guys were fired within a day on something which we don't understand, and that was been a debate going on, it leaves us a lot of questions.
Okay, we need to take our last break, but of course, remember, when we get back, we shall be taking a general look at the political atmosphere in the country. This is the Political Dive on Northern TV. Fred Mungurek is your host this evening. We are seated right here at Icon Lounge. Remember, there is also a restaurant right here. You can have your tea. You can come in the evening and sip your tea. You can have your lunch. You can have your dinner. And they are served in so many ways. We need to take that break. And of course, this is the Northern TV Political Dive program. Welcome back from the final break. Before we break until next week, this is the Political Dive on Northern TV. My name is Fred Mungurek, and of course, this evening I'm glad to have our guest. That is none other than Mr. Benedict Okethwengu, a very senior writer with the Vision Group in West Nile. This is the final segment of this particular show this Wednesday, and we are glad that you are a part of this particular discussion. And of course, right here. Yes, as we get to conclude, what is your analysis of the political atmosphere in the country at a time when we are having so many things resulting from the various processes to pick candidates across all the political divides?
I think one of the greatest challenges we are faced with, politics has become a very big business, a very lucrative one, and everyone really would want to go and take that part of that cake. It's no longer about service or about anything to do with the leadership. You look at the way people fought and people are fighting. I wouldn't imagine if people were going for a common good to serve the people. Because when you look at the trend of things nowadays, at party level, even the different political parties seem to have lost focus. If it's a party, they're looking at having more numbers, seats. Then if it's actually people in the ruling government, everyone is just looking at having, parties are looking at more seats. They're not looking at how they grow their ideology. Like, okay, let me address opposition. The oppositions are not looking at how they can ascend to the top. They're not fighting a common goal, if I'm to put it clearly. When you look at what is happening in Kampala, Lukwago seems to have put a tight grip with Kampala. He has actually is holding Kampala in his hand. And if oppositions were very really serious people, they wouldn't bring any other person, but they will instead focus at capturing people outside.
Now let's quickly get into that. It is a discussion that seems not to be given a proper attention. You look at Bobi Wine's National Unity Platform. Do you think it is serving the exact purpose of bringing something new in the politics of our country on the opposition side, even when they are fronting candidates, even in constituencies that do have a strong opposition people or leaders in them?
That's why I'm saying even some of these political parties, they lack ideology. They are looking at having more numbers. And politics has changed in such a way in multi-party system where we are in. The more numbers you have, like for example, if NUP gets many number of MPs under its ticket, then it becomes the leading opposition. It will be having in parliament. It will be able to have even the leader of opposition. Then it will be able to have the power to choose and so on. It doesn't stop there. It also comes with attracting donor funding. So that is what people are fighting. So to me, that's what I'm saying. It has become a lucrative business. It's not now about service. Because if it's about service, it's about fighting what they call dictatorship. These people should be coming out as a single entity, because at the end of the day, if you put some, like you're saying, in Kampala, you're bringing Lukwago, you're going to divide the votes. You put Lukwago under so much stress that Lukwago has to begin also sweating for votes. But powerful as he is, he should be able to go down to begin to galvanize support for other people. Say, okay, we are a team, because he knows that is a done deal. But now you need to sweat. He needs to do what? In urban centers, things seem to be. So you see, when you look careful, the fight is mostly in urban centers. And yet, NRM, the party that seems to be working to throw out of power, is working hard to ensure that they have support in the villages.
Now, does it point out to the fact that most of the people we have in opposition are after what they can achieve as individuals, but not about advancing the party ideologies?
No, I think there's too much greed. Because if it was not about greed, by this time they would have formed a coalition. In Kenya, Moi was ousted after there was formation of a coalition. They did not look at that individual. They formed a coalition, and in most countries where rulers were probably leaders who have taken on power removed, it doesn't come on serious play, because this one knows the game. The president has been in this thing, his childhood, from youthful stage, he has been in politics. So you cannot come with your thing that you are, if you want even fighting, you will not get him. If you want everything, he is a master of everything. He has mastered the art, the game. So for you to come, you need to combine heads, you need to combine force, you need to combine, because at the end, what is happening, if you can mobilize people, but you are not able to organize them, to turn them into force, then it's a wasted energy. That's why sometimes people begin crying foul that, why we are cheated. You have mobilized people, but at the end of the day, at the day of the voting, you don't have people to stand there to protect your votes, probably. You don't have even the agents to sign your thing. So you mobilize people, but you didn't organize them. So the opposition lack organization skill. And that is what makes it hard for them to outcompete the ruling party, the NRM. Because the NRM is so organized to the level that, as I talk now, they at least have 30 people as their supporter at the grassroots. So I know it might be very tough for opposition given the political space they're operating, but that should be the focus. And that focus can only come when they don't begin to fight among themselves. You don't have to bring, if you know this is a strong candidate, even it comes from GEMA, if it comes from FDC, it comes from NT, and so on, why do you bring another one to come and begin dividing votes? So that is the biggest thing. The greed and lack of organizational skill seem to be a bigger thing. And also the clear ideological orientation, what they are aiming at, seems not to be there.
Now, you think that is going to hand NRM the victory come 2021 elections?
Of course, when you're a house divided within yourself, what happened? If you are, it's likely to fall. When you two brothers are fighting over land, someone is likely to take the land. A stranger. Hey. So now this guy is the person whom you are fighting for is there, watching at you. Instead of your energy, bringing them that synergy, the two of you come together to give maximum force, you are wasting it somewhere. Somebody will like, by the time you are coming to him, you are very tired, you are insulting yourself. How can I'm going to beat that one, but we are insulting that you are very fake. How possible is that? So at the end of the day, NRA will have the last laugh if they are bickering. That's what I see. And they are like to, I can tell you it's not going to be easy for opposition to attain to power if they continue that kind of having that greed and lack of organizational skill where they don't have clear agenda. They only look at numbers, that each of one want to have more numbers, each party is fighting to have more numbers. Then they should forget.
Right, as we get to conclude, do you think for the opposition there is a way out of this situation in which they are?
For me, I think right now it's a little difficult, but I think in the subsequent election, or probably, let them go back to the drawing board and ensure that they speak the same language. Let them try to understand let them understand their destination. If they want to, what is their aim? They have been singing that dictatorship. If they want to, is it about removing dictatorship? So can they remove it if they are so disorganized like that? They have been singing, but it is impossible if they do it that way. So the best they can do, let them work as a united force. If they're to do a better thing to remove the current government in power.
Right, thank you so much for honoring our invite to appear on set, and it's a pleasure, and we look forward to hosting you every other time when the need arises.
Thank you very much, and thank the viewers.
Right, as they say, even the best dancer has to leave the stage. Time is ripe for us to get out of this particular stage. It has been so amazing. And of course, as usual, I do hope that you had the best of your time as much as we did presenting this particular show to you. We take another break, but of course, this is going to be a break in which we are going to probably spend so much time until we meet again next week. It's been a pleasure, and hoping you will be able again to catch us next week on our Facebook page, that is Northern TV. And of course, if you can't be a part of this particular discussion, always remember on social media, the debates shall always be there. And do not forget as well to subscribe to our YouTube. And of course, until next Wednesday, for now, kwaheri and have the best of your time.